Oh, because she did not want to come and lay with you and sup with you and be a part of you. She didn't want that, sir. And for that, you became angry at Ashley. How could you do that? How could you become so angry at the sweetest thing? She was so sweet. She was so kind. She was so beautiful, Brandon, and you know this. You had her by your side. She trusted you. My baby sister would have never gone with 5 men. She wouldn't have never, but she trusted you, Brandon. It was something in your leadership that she saw in you. It was something in you, Brandon Kane, that she looked up to. Me, mother of 5 children, 30 years with 1 man. She saw something in you, Brandon Kane. And you took that. You took that and you took it and then you killed her. How could you do that, Brandon Kane? And then you thought, through your manipulation of being able to have the power and authority to call upon such someone as a lawyer that you have, that you thought that you would be able to utilize the judicial system as you did so many times before. But the merciful said your reign as a merciless master is over. Your reign as a one who shall kill and destroy is over, Brandon Kane.
Please, if you could please help us find Ashley Conaway and Abreeya. Please pray for my family. Please bring my sister and her best friend home.
Abreeya Brown and her best friend Ashley Conaway were kidnapped from outside their Hamtramck home on February 28th. Brown's stepfather told police he tried to save them by shooting at the men taking them. 2 suspects, 26-year-old Brandon Kane and 24-year-old Brian Christopher Lee, are in jail. Their motive: police say the men did not want the 2 young women to testify against them. This after an incident in early February. Kane and Lee are accused of shooting at them because Kane was upset that Ashley was breaking up with him.
Please bring my baby back to me safely. In Jesus' name I pray.
Abreeya Brown, 18, and Ashley Conaway, 21, were abducted on February 28th. Their bodies were discovered March 25th in shallow graves in a wooded area on Detroit's west side, not far from their home in Hamtramck. The women had been bound and shot in the head. 5 men have been charged in the abduction and slayings of these 2 Michigan women, who were kidnapped and stuffed in a car trunk at gunpoint. Watch this story to see how doing the right thing can still have disastrous results. Welcome to Backyard Crimes. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified of more crime stories. Around 10 p.m. on February 28, 2012, a man in Hamtramck, Major Chapman, was waiting for his 18-year-old stepdaughter, Abreeya Brown, to come home. She had been out to dinner with her best friend, 22-year-old Ashley Conaway. He heard the girls pull up. Moments later, he heard a deafening scream. As he made his way to the front door, he heard frantic banging on the door. He ran straight to the door and flung it open. He witnessed Abreeya and Ashley being dragged to the trunk of a silver Chrysler Concorde. There were at least 2 men. One was pushing the struggling Abreeya and Ashley into the trunk of the car while the other was standing close by. He was armed with a gun, and when he saw Major Chapman on the doorstep, he opened fire. Major Chapman responded by grabbing his own gun. He hurried back to the front door and began firing back before the car sped off with Abreeya and Ashley in the trunk. This story takes place in Hamtramck, Michigan, a small city covering just 2.09 square miles and is surrounded by the city of Detroit. It has a population around 21,000. The victims: Abreeya Brown was a student at Wayne County Community College, and she was working as a clerk at a local toy store. Ashley Conaway had graduated from Cleveland Intermediate School as valedictorian in 2008. She too was attending Wayne County Community College, where she was studying to become a nurse. Ashley was kind-hearted, good qualities for a nurse. Ashley was working part-time at Kentucky Fried Chicken while she was in college. Both Abreeya and Ashley had big ambitions and bright futures ahead of them. They had been the best of friends since childhood, and they both lived together with Major Chapman, Abreeya's stepfather. The suspects. All the suspects knew the victims. Brandon Kane, 26, he was the ringleader. He had some type of romantic relationship with Ashley. He was dangerous and hot-tempered. Past criminal history included a 1 to 7 year sentence for receiving stolen property, assault with intent to commit great bodily harm less than murder, 1 to 7 years for fleeing and eluding police. Miguel Rodriguez, 24, was a friend of the suspects, but not the closest friend. Reginald Brown, 24, is a cousin to suspect Jeremy Brown. He is not related to victim, Abreeya Brown. He is described as a paid killer. Jeremy Brown, 19, is a cousin to suspect Reginald Brown. He is not related to victim, Abreeya Brown. Brian Lee, 25, was a good friend and follower of Brandon Kane. The crime. After the car drove away, that terrifying night, Major Chapman immediately called the police, who responded to the scene within 2 minutes. When the police arrived at Chapman's house, they immediately noticed shell casings littered across the ground and the house was riddled with bullets. The girl's car engine was still running and both doors were wide open. Abreeya's handbag was on the ground with the content falling out. Based on the evidence, it appeared as though Abreeya and Ashley were captured as soon as they arrived back home. They may have been followed by their kidnappers. As Major Chapman was describing the abduction incident to police, his phone began to ring. He picked it up and Abreeya was on the phone. She was whispering as she told him that she and Ashley were in the trunk of a silver car. Hamtramck police requested the assistance of the Michigan State Police and the Detroit Police Department as the search for Abreeya and Ashley got underway. As the search was beginning, Ashley's sister's phone got a text message from Ashley. "They got us," she texted. Minutes later, another text message from Ashley said, "Help us." After this text message, the girls were never heard from again. The investigation. Investigators were immediately notified by the family of 2 potential persons of interest, 25-year-old Brandon Lewis Kane and another man. They certainly were likely suspects. Ashley had been somewhat romantically involved with Kane, but she was cautious because he was a dangerous, easily angered man. On February 8, about 3 weeks earlier, Ashley was invited by Kane to meet him at a friend's home in Glastonbury, Detroit to hang out. When she arrived, the friend, Kane, and 24-year-old Brian Christopher Lee were at the home. The small group was hanging out and drinking when Ashley decided she wanted to go home. Kane responded angrily, telling Ashley that he wanted her to go home with him. Ashley did not want to go. She became afraid, so she called her best friend Abreeya to pick her up. Abreeya agreed and arrived at the friend's home shortly thereafter. Detroit police say Kane ordered Brandon Lee to fire shots at the women if they left. One of the bullets grazed Conaway's head. A friend of Ashley said, "He kept calling Ashley, telling her, 'I'll give you $5,000 apiece if you don't tell on me, I'm sorry baby, I love you,' and all that." Her friend said she told her quit answering the phone for him, and she actually got her number changed the day before she was kidnapped. Brandon Kane did not take the breakup of the relationship well. The women were found nearly a month later in a shallow grave in a Detroit park, each shot in the head with their mouths, legs and hands bound with duct tape. Kane's friend turned himself into police when he heard on the news the police were looking for him. He had a criminal history of possession of a firearm and operating a vehicle under the influence. He was originally believed to be involved because he was present at the first shooting incident but was cleared of any wrongdoing. As part of the investigation, the police had discovered that on the day of the kidnapping, a man had entered a local Kmart and purchased 2 shovels. The police identified this man as Miguel Rodriguez. They brought him in for questioning and he confessed and implicated the 4 others. He said Kane was to turn himself in the next day for shooting at the girls and he decided to just kill them. He had called Reginald Brown, who was a killer for hire. Reginald called his cousin Jeremy Brown and Miguel Rodriguez. Miguel's role was to buy things they needed, the gas and the shovels.
Where a burned-out car police say may have been used in the abduction was found, say police have been searching there non-stop.
Jeremy and Reginald's cell phone records put them in the location of the girls. Other cell phones were tracked and the bodies of Ashley and Abreeya were found very close to where Rodriguez met Kane. The arrest. Brandon Kane, 26, Miguel Rodriguez, 24, Reginald Brown, 24, Jeremy Brown, 19, and Brian Lee, 25, all of Detroit, were charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of torture and 2 counts of unlawful imprisonment. Brandon had turned himself in when he knew police were looking for him. He was held on a $500,000 bond.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Judge Peruk, and I'm here to conduct an arraignment of the 3 individuals. If I could ask each of you to identify yourselves, and I would start maybe with the individual standing on my left-hand side. Sir, can you identify yourself on the record?
Brandon James, Miguel Rodriguez, Brian Lee.
We heard that the stepfather of one of the victims fired shots at the suspects, but what are police now saying about him in this case?
Police are now telling 7 Action News that he is no longer cooperating with their investigation, and they are wondering why that is. A relative contacted 7 Action News and says that he told them everything he knows right after the crime, right after he saw the abduction, but he has since been threatened by those responsible, and he is no longer speaking for his own safety because he has already said something.
The trial. Abreeya Brown's stepfather, Major Chapman, identified one of the defendants, Brandon Kane, as the man who was standing in the street with a gun on the evening his daughter was abducted. Tristan Cash, a friend of Miguel Rodriguez, testified that on the night of the murders, he drove some of the men charged in the murders to Kmart to buy shovels and a gas can. The shovels were used to bury the 2 women in a shallow grave in a secluded wooded area on Detroit's west side. The gas container was used to torch the car used in the kidnapping. Upon returning to the house, he said he got impatient waiting on Rodriguez and went inside the house and saw Reginald Brown standing in the living room, having a tense conversation with Rodriguez. Rodriguez then left with Cash, never mentioning anything that had happened that night. He ended his testimony saying that Jeremy and Reginald Brown showed up at his house threatening him and calling him a snitch. Another witness was Jasmine Richbow, a cousin of Abreeya Brown and the longtime on-again/off-again girlfriend of a cousin of suspect Reginald Brown, who testified that on the morning of February 29th she was at her boyfriend's house when suspect Jeremy Brown showed up unexpectedly at about 1:15 a.m. and said he was waiting for Reginald Brown, who arrived about an hour later dressed in a black jogging outfit and covered in mud. Richbow said that upon his arrival Reginald Brown flashed a stack of cash saying, "The things people do for money." She says he then instructed Jeremy Brown to go to the bathroom and clean a black semi-automatic handgun with bleach and to get rid of the bullets. The defense was able to suppress a videotape that showed Miguel Rodriguez confessed and implicated the 4 other men. Security was tight in the small courtroom. Witnesses said they feared for their lives being labeled snitches. They were escorted into and out of court with armed security. This case was started with a witness protection issue as the girls were killed because they were going to testify against Brandon Kane. Alleged ringleader Brandon Kane and Jeremy Brown were convicted of first-degree murder and other felonies. Reginald Brown was convicted of first-degree murder in Conaway's death and second-degree murder in Abreeya Brown's, and Brian Lee was convicted of second-degree murder. Sentencing. The prosecutor said, "These women were heroic. They refused to relent and let these defendants deter them from continuing on with their previous case, and they paid with their lives. The women were killed to keep them from testifying in the previous assault case. In that earlier shooting, a separate jury later found Brandon Kane and Brian Lee guilty of assault with intent to murder." Judge Vonda Evans called one man a merciless mercenary and another an architect of death. Reginald Brown, cousin Jeremy Brown and Brandon Kane face mandatory life in prison without parole. Brian Lee proclaimed his innocence before he was sentenced to 45 to 80 years in prison for second-degree murder. Miguel Rodriguez was sentenced from 20 to 35 years in prison. Abreeya Brown's relative Lois Brown addressed the suspects. "The devastation that you put upon Abreeya and Ashley cut their lives so short, but there's no doubt in my mind that my babies are in the kingdom of heaven," Brown said. "You guys were just tools that were used to give them their wings. Repent for your sins before it's too late." Another relative addressing the court was very emotional. "I ask, every day in jail, that you remember as you plotted and schemed, as you sent out to get the duct tape, and as you sent out to get the gasoline, and as you had my sister and my niece bound and gagged and tortured them," she said. Latrina, Ashley's sister, addressed Kane and gave a powerful impact statement.
Moving forward, you, sir, are a prime example of nurture versus nature. Nurturally, you somewhere through your 20-block radius, through your Brightmoor navigation, got real twisted. I can hear intelligence all through you. I can feel the understanding of God from you. But in terms of master, what you created, what you founded, what you established, sir, you could have went a whole and lay with you and sup with you and be a part of you. She didn't want that, sir. And for that, you became angry at Ashley. How could you do that? How could you become so angry at the sweetest thing? She was so sweet. She was so kind. She was so beautiful, Brandon, and you know this. You had her by your side. She trusted you. My baby sister would have never gone with 5 men. She wouldn't have never, but she trusted you, Brandon. It was something in your leadership that she saw in you. It was something in you, Brandon Kane, that she looked up to. Me, mother of 5 children, 30 years with 1 man. She saw something in you, Brandon Kane. And you took that. You took that and you took it and then you killed her. How could you do that, Brandon Kane? And then you thought, through your manipulation of being able to have the power and authority to call upon such someone as a lawyer that you have, that you thought that you would be able to utilize the judicial system as you did so many times before. But the merciful said your reign as a merciless master is over. Your reign as a one who shall kill and destroy is over, Brandon Kane. I'm waiting for this day. I'm waiting for this day for I may be able to speak from my family and speak to you to say it is over for you and you shall retire and make your permanent residence at Michigan Department of Corrections. And they shall welcome you, sir. They shall line up and dress real nice and real pretty for you, Mr. Kane. So to your family, to your sister, to your family, who I know that they did not create you and formulate you and give you all the good things that they breathed into you for you to become a monster. They didn't give that to you, so I hold no contempt for them. I hold no contempt. And even after I speak, Brandon Kane, I have forgiveness for you. So therefore I stand not in between the merciful Father and you, that he may be able to count you and to be able to read you line by line, order by order, and precept by precept, because there is no sin that you committed that is hidden from him. He shall see it all. And I thank you, Your Honorable Vonda Evans, for allowing me to be able to speak. I thank the team that led so diligently in bringing and apprehending this heinous man to the courtroom. Thank you.
The best friends had a double funeral at Detroit's Solomon Temple. Our condolences continue to go out to Ashley and Abreeya's family, friends, and loved ones. We hope they find some peace in knowing that justice was served in this case. Please subscribe and leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you. We will see you in the next video.